Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Best Friends Club Podcast. I'm Charlotte,
I'm Fizz.
and we're back. We're back for another episode. So we actually recorded the last episode like 2 days ago, and now we're back again to do this next one. If you listened to the last episode, you would have heard that we thought we were going to be talking about Living with Robin Pattinson today, but in fact, there was an entire video that we missed. So we're talking about that instead. Do you want to tell everyone what the video is if they haven't read the title of the episode on Spotify?
Right. Firstly, I would like to say I blame Dan and Phil completely for this, for deleting their videos. I understand why, but I do blame
All
them.
their fault. All their fault.
All. But yeah, today we're talking about how to make British pancakes, which was uploaded on 8th of March in 2011. And it's a very fun, quite long video. It's not as long as the baking videos that we've got recently, but it's pretty long, and they uploaded it for Shrove Tuesday, which I think is like I don't know if it's a British thing or a Christian thing or.
I think it's probably more of a Christian thing, but I don't think it's something they do in America. So I think it is more British-sized. There is a word for that. It's not British-sized.
But it's such a fun little thing. I love pancakes, so I'm like
I love pancakes as well. Yeah.
This video, what are our initial thoughts on it? What's been going
Initial
on?
thoughts. I mean, so first off, the first thing we have to discuss is this is the very first animal baking video that we've got.
That's true.
This is where it all began. First time in the kitchen, first time seeing them bake. So it's a monumental moment already. I don't quite know why Dan deleted this video. Maybe he just didn't like the sort of vibes or like how it looked with the rest of his videos. It wasn't really what like his brand, what he wanted it to look like.
I'm trying to figure that as well. My conclusion to it was that it has a lot of his old branding, like Delia Smith and Placenta, and like all these things. So he must have been like, oh, I don't like it, which is kind of sad because it's such a monumental, like an iconic video. I wish he didn't, but I mean, it's his job.
Yeah. I love how we're talking about monumental and iconic it is, and we'd completely forgot that it existed and didn't include it in our little playlist of videos to talk about on this podcast.
Again, like it's because he deleted it. Like we haven't watched this video in so long. At least I haven't, and
No, I haven't either.
Yeah, and I completely forgot. But it came back to me like immediately while I was watching.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's so many like quotes and things that they say in this video that are just part of like the Dan and Phil quote loop that runs through my head.
One of the biggest things I noticed is like if you kind of like the way we are, if you go back and watch the videos in chronological order, you kind of immediate and also while like living in the present with them right now, you see that I mean, I don't think Dan would be caught dead with his pants sagging that low now.
Oh my god! I mean, that's something to talk about when we get into the video. But oh my god, like I feel that's the biggest takeaway from this video is that why, man, why? Really not a good look at all.
It's just something that I had to keep note of. Like every time he turned around, I was like, oh god, I'm gonna look at Phil now.
Cleanse your eyes and look at Phil's face instead.
Maybe that's why he deleted it. He was like, this is too embarrassing.
I mean, yeah, I relate to that. So if that's why he did delete it, fair play.
Fair play. Yeah, should we get into it?
Yeah, so a little bit of context from around the time of the video. Obviously, it was uploaded in March. I had a little look through their tweets from March to see what they were up to. So obviously at the end of the video, Dan does mention about VU being this new website. So a lot of their tweets from March were all about doing VU questions and like answering those. Phil also hit 150,000 subscribers in March.
Fireworks.
That's a little monumental moment in Phil's YouTube history. So I was having another look like through all their tweets, and Dan had like just uploaded his Dan Mail 2 video.
It's a second channel video. You should Their male videos are like
Yeah,
um very very much like iconic when they used to accept mail and go through it all, because
I'd
I
literally
don't know, it's very
completely
sweet.
forgotten that Dan Mail videos existed, and I saw these tweets, and I was like, "Oh my god, yes, he used to do those, and they were so good."
He used to do them at university as well, and you could see on the wall behind him he'd like put up the
Yeah,
drawings and
yeah.
stuff with people. So cute. um but yeah, oh my god, that mail and like the Phil mail videos obviously, but wow. I
What a
think
time.
what a time. 2011. My first point was about like I was literally just didn't Dan pull your pants up, but we talked about that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's just a
What?
constant commentary, I think, throughout the whole video. Dan, pull your jeans up, please.
Please.
There was also this shot of them at the beginning, like when they're doing the little introduction, and they were both stood facing the camera. They
Hmm.
both had their thumbs in the pockets of their jeans, and they were stood in like the exact same position.
Same version, just like reflections of each other. That just
Literally, I mean,
happens.
obviously the hair's like obviously up in opposite sides, so it was
Mhm.
literally just like a reflection of the same person.
Whoa. And I think they at this point like Dan's just visiting Phil's house, right? I also noticed that Dan's t-shirt, it looks kind of similar to one that I've seen Phil wear maybe in another video or something, which
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. Which makes sense because guy whose house you do your laundry in, things get mixed up. I would also
We
steal
got no
t-shirts.
clean clothes, so he has to wear
Probably.
Phil's clothes.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
I
fair
also think
enough.
as well, just going back to them, like stood next to one another. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like when you think of Dan and Phil on YouTube, like when I think what they look like, that's what I picture what they look like. Even though like they're so much older now, but I feel like that's just such like an image of what they look like.
I see that. Yeah, like I mean, it's not you're not wrong to do that because like you have the iconic fringes which they've made merch of. You can't be
Yeah,
blamed. Yeah. Also, something I noticed is that like the framing of the video is kind of weird because they're so tall that like a lot of the
yeah, they
time
needed,
they just like cut their heads off, which I think
yeah, they
doesn't
needed to lift that
happen in
camera up a little
Philippines.
bit.
Like they would hate it if that happened now. They wouldn't let it happen, I think.
No, I
They
mean
do,
they
but
haven't. We've seen their baking videos,
yeah, they're much better. But
much much better.
it makes me wonder why they just left it like that. But I guess it
Yeah,
just
that
works.
is a bit weird.
Yeah. Uh,
So also first baking video, but we also have the birth of the Delia Smith jokes that somehow became a thing.
Somehow, I feel like the way he started talking about it, I feel like was this an inside joke between you guys that now we are now part of? But it is the first time he's mentioned it. Um,
Yeah, I did wonder that. Like, is this the first time that he's mentioned Delia Smith or not?
I think so because we haven't seen them cook as such yet, at least in like the
That's
episode.
true.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the birth of Delia Smith. Placenta continues. That's some other point. We'll talk about it, but
Unfortunately. But yeah, so like I just want to know why the Delia Smith became a thing. It's so weird.
so weird, so weird. Uh, and my next note is about like when they list the ingredients, it's very similar to how they were doing it in like later baking videos as well. Like,
Yes,
right?
yes.
They were saying something, and then there would be like some sort of comment or change in how they say it. Like, it's very fast paced, and it's very very similar to the other like Halloween baking videos and stuff that they do. Very on theme with the concept
Yeah.
that they're doing.
So I made this as a note later on, but I can say it now because it's what we're saying. That like out of all the videos I think that we've watched so far, this one feels like the most them that we know now if that makes sense.
Yes, I would agree. Like,
Like, yeah, like the vibes that they have and like the banter back and forth, and like
mhm,
you can tell that they're so much more comfortable around one another. And I think that's obviously due to the fact that Dan now lives in Manchester.
mhm,
So he's obviously been seeing Phil every day. So they've been able to build up that friendship so much quicker.
mhm.
But I was watching how they interact and obviously just how they filmed the video and obviously the choices that they made
Right.
and what they said in the video just felt very them of, I mean, not particularly now, but maybe like sort of 2018, 2019 sort of stuff when they were doing like baking videos and things like that.
I agree. This is like around the time, like again, like Dan's starting to be like a little bit meaner, and it's all like banter, obviously, but you can 100% tell like that aspect of their friendship is like you can almost pinpoint that it's around this time, and we see that sort of grow over the years. You're right. Oh my god.
Yeah. And I was just thinking as well, do you remember that one VU that Dan did where someone like messaged him and he's like, why are you always so mean to Phil? Like, why do you hate him? And he was just like, please, like, it's all a joke. I'm mean to Phil, but because we're friends.
And that's how friendship works. I think I know what you mean. I know which one you're talking about, but I think it came up again when in like a V Live or something. V Live, that's a K-pop thing.
Like merging of the fandoms. Oh my god.
What was the thing? You now?
You know, that was what they did live shows on, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I hope the K-poppies enjoyed that one. V Live isn't even a thing anymore. Um someone was like, "Do you hate Phil?" And then he was like, "Yes, I hate Phil. I live with Phil because I hate him, and that's how it is,"
Yeah.
or something like that. And then I think he just like fell off his chair or something. When he was in the London apartment. But yeah, it's so
Yeah.
like you have to understand this is how their relationship works. Dan is mean to Phil. Phil laughs it
And
off.
how it's always worked. Yeah.
Mm. It's only like
And he's like, it's obviously a joke.
obviously, very obviously. And I think the only time he's not mean to Phil is in the first Phil is on fire. And after that, it's just like he's like pushing his luck with every video.
Yeah, and I think he's only not mean to Phil and Phil is not on fire because he's literally like just met Phil and he doesn't know how to like push Phil's buttons just yet.
Just yet, yeah. You can really tell like what they've learned about each other. And it's going to get better slash worse once they start living with each other, which we'll see.
Absolutely. I mean, segueing on from that, my next note was about how annoying Dan is in this video and how loud he is. And like, I know we've said this about some of the other videos, but he's so annoying and he's so loud. And like most of the time, it's in a very endearing way, and I like it. But there are just some times that he gets a little bit too close to the edge for me, and I'm like, no, this is just annoying and loud now for no reason.
Yeah, no, he's very loud. You can tell that he's trying a little hard to be really funny. And I think it's a side of him that comes out slash came out when he was on his own channel. This is one of the few joint videos we've done so far that is actually on Daz on Fire and not Amazing Phil. So I think you can tell the difference in his like
That's true, actually. Is this the? No, it's not. We've got Amazing Dan, but yeah, it's not. But all the others were basically on Phil's channel.
yeah. And I think he has a tendency of trying harder on his channel because I guess like I mean it is his channel, so I guess it makes sense. But I feel like on Phil's channel he's just a lot more relaxed and not.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. It is quite it did get quite like I thought it was because it's so early to that like 2010 like the humor is so close to that, but I guess like Dan's humor at the time was also
I think Dan is also just an annoying person. Like I do love him,
I
but I also just think he's a very annoying person. And I say that with love. Please don't come for me. Please don't attack me for my opinions. I say it all with love.
she's literally a Danny. It's fine. Like she,
I'm allowed to say mean things about him.
no, but you literally like we have veteran accounts. We can be mean to them. I'm sure we've actually been mean to them, and they've just laughed at us.
Probably.
Like if you look through like the kinds of Twitter replies we've accumulated over the years, I'm sure one of them was just like really.
Oh, Dan's been horrible to me in some like Twitter replies. He's like fully like called me out.
There you go, there you go. So you can call him annoying. It's just bands.
It's just the relationship that we have.
I have written that just to like come back on track. I've written that I'm proud of him for not cracking the eggs and like getting shell in the batter because I was fully expecting him to.
Yeah, that is very impressive.
Also, this is whisking pre Tyler Oakley, so there's no whisk jokes, which is
No whisk
wild.
trauma. I mean, they don't have a whisk, so that's maybe why there's no whisk trauma at the minute. But
Fair.
yeah,
They were like, what? I think the recipe called for one, and they were like, what the fuck is a balloon
yeah.
whisk? And actually, what is a balloon whisk? I don't know either.
I think it's just a normal whisk. I think it's just because of like the shape of it. It's sort of like it's a balloon-esque shape.
Ah, fair.
I'm also not surprised that Phil doesn't own a whisk. Like, why? What baking is Phil doing on his own time? Not a lot.
That's true, actually. No, he's a man. He has his hammer drill. He
His cordless power drill. He can attach a whisk to that, and then he can whisk with his power drill.
please don't do that.
Or maybe do. Maybe try it out. Let us know if it works.
You would think like I could see him do that though. It's been like it's the same concept, right? It goes spinny, like
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair. I could see Phil do that. They also move the camera around so much, like actual.
Oh, they do, especially when they're holding it with their hands.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, it's all over the place. Especially when they're like singing all the little songs, which we can get onto. Again, like iconic songs stuck in my head. Dan singing Whisk It, Whisk It, and then say the Zumba Fitness, Zumba Fitness.
Oh my god, yeah,
Just stuck in my head.
he has this melody that he like repeats for every song, and it's so catchy, and it's just always stuck in your head. Very annoying man, but knows how to like come up with a jingle.
He really does. He really, really does.
um Phil touched the pan. Did you note that down? Like, did you
Oh
see
my
that?
god, that was so chaotic. I did, yeah. That was so chaotic. I don't know why he did that.
Like, why would you do that? I mean, thanks for telling us don't do that the second after, but why would you do that? Obviously, it's not. Stress me out.
Maybe that's the real reason that Dan deleted the video, because he didn't want people to copy Phil's bad behavior.
Maybe. And now that I think about, there's so much wrong with this video, but he still should have kept it.
I mean, the pancakes look good, so they must have done a semi-good job.
Yeah, they did look really good.
So we also have in this as well the beginning of Dan making sex noises when he eats food. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yes. Eating food, and also when he like put the egg in the flour, he like moaned.
Yeah.
Ugh, ugh.
Yeah.
I recoiled. I was like, ew, no. And I have to keep reminding myself that he's a lot younger than I am now. Not that much younger. He's like 19 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 19.
No, he's still 18.
No, 20.
No, yeah, no, we're in 2011 now. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like about to turn 20, I think. So I have to remember that okay, this is a 19/20-year-old boy, and I'm 25.
Yeah, but you say that, and then even in the later baking videos, he still makes all those like disgusting, moany sexual noises when he's eating the food.
I mean, good for him. Like, I can only imagine loving food as much as that, but not really.
There's
But
no
yeah,
need
I
for
did
it really in a video. Like, keep that to yourself.
honestly like maybe turn the camera off before you do that. Ew. I didn't write that. I think I was so like grossed out I forgot to write it. But yeah, ew. And then I mean, going right into the next one that I have, it's about when he was like lubricate, and that is also a word that's stuck in his branding for some reason. He would
Yeah.
say it like,
And just a little like hip wiggle when he sings it as well.
yeah. Oh, Dan. This is stuff that he can do on his channel. To be fair, he can't do it on Phil's. He just like let loose.
Yeah, it is his channel. We know that Dan is Not on Fire is an X-rated YouTube channel, so he can post whatever he wants. I think another thing I picked up from this video was like baking videos give me like a real insight into what it would be like to live with Dan and Phil. And that insight is that it would be very chaotic to live with Dan and Phil. Like them together, like doing domestic things like cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do. I mean, I know that they don't cook anyway. I mean, it's a long-standing joke within the fandom that they don't cook food,
No, they're
which
takeout.
stresses me out so much.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that they do cook meals, but it stresses me out so much that they don't, and then they just eat like takeaway all the time. Like, surely that can't. Like, that is not a way to live, Fizz.
I agree. No, I completely agree. I live on my own, and it stresses me out when I have to think about cooking, but I still do it because I can't live on takeout at like forever. But
No.
it's bad. But they can cook.
But yeah, I just feel like I just like the whole like domesticity of baking videos and watching them interact and like do something like baking together.
Mhm.
Just a real insight into what it must be like to live with them.
Yeah.
And yeah, just incredibly chaotic. I think that's the only way I can describe both of them is just chaotic.
And they make such a mess. They like talk about it like they mention it, but they make such a mess out of
Oh my god, I know.
just for making pancakes. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's not.
They drip like all the pancake batter over like the worktop, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, bring the pan, bring the bowl closer to the pan.
And you don't need to flip it. I mean, I know it's fun to like flip it the way that they do. They physically flip the pan.
Mm-hmm.
But they were dripping batter everywhere. I think I don't even know if it was a joke or what, but I think they were saying like, oh, you got batter on the sofa or something. And how far is the sofa? It's not that close. Like, what are you
No.
doing? Boys. Complete like.
And then when they're actually like flipping the pancakes, and then when Dan does that crazy one at the end, and he just makes like a whole mess over the floor, because I feel like he's just trying to like show off for the YouTube video, and it just ends up everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, I hope they clean like right after and didn't leave it just to like whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
same. That would have been disgusting. I hope they did clean up. Yeah.
um, and oh my god, also, um, Dan was just like, he had a knife for some reason, and
Oh my god, he did.
he kept waving it around. Just, I have to say, like the end of that video is very stressful for so many reasons. Like it's dirty. There's a knife.
Phil looks scared. Phil looks scared for his life.
Like
Yeah.
genuinely scared. Yeah.
It reminds me of the bit in the It's Amazing Dan 2 when he like lights the lighter
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like, starts waving at the flame around.
yeah,
Phil like blows it out. He's like, no, we're not doing that.
yeah. And then he just like yells out of nowhere. That was in the same video, I think. He was like, "Oh, I don't think video games make me violent," and then just goes, "Ah!" Sorry.
Again, a chaotic man. A chaotic man.
You just don't know what he's gonna do next.
He's so unpredictable. He's crazy. And then the bit at the end, so they do it at the beginning as well, and they do it at the end, where they like run into the frame and like slide on the floor and like bump into one another. I just thought that was really cute, very cheesy, really dumb, and it's just really silly, but it made me smile.
Yes, and also same, and also it like stuck. That's one of the things that stuck.
Yes.
Right? Like in my head, right?
Oh yes, because they do that. Yeah, I think in the And like, is it the brownie graveyard one they do? I
They do
think
it.
I feel like they do it in
They
that.
do it in that, and I also just randomly clicked on the cake pops one, and they do it in that as well. And
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah,
it's a running thing, so this is also the start of that. So that's fun. That's like a very cute thing that I'm glad that they kept.
yeah. It does look very cute and very silly.
Yeah, and there was there's a quote that, like, I don't know how significant it is, but when they said it, it like did something to me. They were like, "These aren't just pancakes; these are freaking Delia Smith pancakes," and I don't know why that one like stood out to me. Maybe because I saw it like
I also wrote down a quote from the video that's also a Delia Smith related one, and it is when Dan says, "Delia Smith is your mum."
I laughed at it. Yeah,
Well, again, we love a your mum joke on this
we
podcast.
really do. They never get old. And he also says that, like, this has become like a Dan. It's like makes sense. It's his video, but he also says, "Screw you, grandma." Um, in what context? I don't remember. He's like, "Oh, you can go make these."
Oh yeah, it's at the end. He's like, yeah, when you go make your pancakes with the grandma, and she says, let's use your family recipe. You can say, screw you,
Yeah.
grandma, and use the Delia Smith one.
Wow, it's just very again chaotic. He would never say that his to his grandma, and we know this because we have seen his grandma.
We've seen his grandma. That is a very good video, let me tell you.
One of his best in recent times. I love that.
I agree.
And yeah, he would never say that to his grandma.
Definitely not.
Bad influence. Maybe that's why he deleted it. So many reasons.
Maybe that's the reason. He trash talked his grandma, and he's like, I can't have her keep watch this ever again.
Mm, and yeah, that's I think.
That's all of my notes as well. That's everything from the video. I think we've discussed it quite a lot. My only other thing was Dan talking about VU at the end and saying it's going to be the next big thing that YouTubers are going to ask questions.
Yeah, same. That was
And
yeah.
then I meant to Google before when VU ended to see if it really was the next big thing.
What
Um,
What do you think?
I mean, how long did it last? Was it like it was? They were definitely they were in the London apartment doing it. So that was 2012. So what was that like? A year?
Let me like search it. VU
I'm trying to search it as well.
it's app shut down. Oops.
2013, I think.
Okay. Well, I don't.
2013. So it lasted for 2 years.
The
Great.
next big thing, guys, and then
It's going to be the next big thing.
I don't know why they would think that because they already had a Q&A thing going. Like Fillers on Fire is that, but I guess not really. But
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit different. It was a bit more like immediate response, wasn't it? Like you could ask a question and get a
mhm,
response, like sort of almost instantaneous.
that's true. And also you could like ask actual serious questions and not just the nonsense that is on Fillers on Fire. Um,
But it's such good nonsense, Fizz.
I know. But if you guys like haven't watched their VU answers, they're floating around on YouTube somewhere. Uh,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and they're very good. Like you get like actual knowledge, but you also get again just like nonsense. Um, but
Like that one of Dan reciting Shakespeare. That one lives in my head rent free.
yeah, I forgot about that one. But that's one. I think the one that is like lives in my mind rent free is the one where they talk about dance, and they're like the difference in accents or whatever. They're like it's dance, but you can't because we're British we say dance, but it doesn't sound right. And then
Oh, I don't remember that one.
I'll have to look it up. I'll send it to you. But
Thank you.
they would talk about like murder on the dance floor, and they're like murder on the dance floor.
Oh yes, Murder on the Dance Floor. Yes, no, I remember that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. I remember the, like the Fall Out Boy part. Because
Because Phil hates Sophie Ellis Bextor.
so that's the one that like I remember. But they did it like well into not well into like a year into living in London. Uh,
Yeah, Definitely.
And then it shut down. The next big thing.
R.I.P. VU. Gone but not forgotten.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
And then
VU.
they just did like You Now, which were again super fun. Just the best part of my week, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's how to make British pancakes.
How to make British pancakes. What would you rate it out of 10? I realise that we haven't been consistent in like rating videos when we've watched them, so I feel like we need to make it an actual thing that we do at the end, that we rate them out of 10. How many pancakes out of 10 would you rate this one?
I would rate this 4 pancakes out of 5. 1 point taken off.
Oh, I said out of 10, but you do out of 5.
Oops.
One.
I feel. Okay. Ask me again. Ask me again.
I think we should keep that in, because I thought you were just going to say. I thought you said 4, and I was like, wow, that's a very low score.
Okay, I'll tell you after 10. I'll tell you after 10. Out of 10, I would give it 9. 1 point off because I really did not want to see Dan's ass the entire time. What about you?
That's totally valid. I think I'd maybe give it 8 pancakes out of 10. I think it's a very nice video, but it's definitely like of the time. I don't think it's aged very well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't want to see Dan's underwear the whole time. Dan was just a little bit, tiny little bit annoying for me. But so that's why we're knocking 2 pancakes off.
That's so fair. I think the average of that is just like 8.5 or whatever.
8.5. That's 8.5 pancakes out of 10. That's a solid.
So many pancakes. But yeah, that was how to make British pancakes. Charlotte, what are we doing next?
So next, well, we did think we were going to be talking about living with Robert Pattinson, but we are in fact going to be talking about My American Accent, which is a video on Phil's channel, which we randomly remembered today that we hadn't added to our episode YouTube playlist. So our next episode is going to be about My American Accent.
Do you think we should do?
Which I'm very intrigued to see, because I think I've maybe watched that video once. I don't remember anything about it.
And I also I think I remember the video, but I didn't remember there was joint content, which is probably why I forgot about it personally. But that's really fun.
Yeah.
As we know, they famously have terrible American accents, but we'll get into it.
Yeah. We can discuss that in the next episode.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you liked it.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you liked it. Subscribe, follow, send us nice messages on Twitter and Tumblr on your thoughts on the episode.
Yes, please do. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.